Utah at UCLA. UCLA 3.5 point underdog here, over under 64.5. The only other team you love more than TCU is Utah. And I think that we're going to disagree on this game. I'm 99% sure I'm going to be on UCLA, who I think is underrated in the market. DTR is a different player this year. You read a lot about how he's taken everything more serious over the past year with his diet and film and sleep. And I just looks like a much better player out there. And I don't know. I think that this Utah team took a step back this year. And if you look at their results, okay, they beat Southern Utah. Who cares? They beat the corpse of San Diego State. Who cares? They beat the corpse of Arizona State. Who cares? So there are two results that they have that you could take any meaning from this year. They lost at Florida, which doesn't look as good than it did maybe initially. Florida almost losing at home to South Florida. And last week against Oregon State, they get 1 billion interceptions and whatever at home, and weird things happen at Utah. But they got outgained by Oregon State, who had their backup quarterback in for half the game. They allowed 6.3 yards per play. They only had 6.4. That game was 21-16 in the third quarter with Oregon State's backup quarterback in an awful spot for Oregon State after that USC game. And so there's a couple things that worry me about Utah. Their secondary is better. It was so hurt last year. And Clark Phillips is a stud. He had a bunch of picks last week. But I think that, one, they might be a bit vulnerable against a mobile quarterback. Richardson basically won that game on his own in week one, ran for, I think, 120 yards and a bunch of touchdowns. And their run defense has slipped a bit. They lost a lot of talent on that front seven. And, the one thing that I'm worried about with UCLA is just being being bullied here, which has been a problem for them against a Utah type team. But I don't know. I think that UCLA has value here, plus 3.5. I think they're very live, and maybe Utah is caught sneak peek a little bit, peeking ahead to that game against USC next week. I think I'm going to be on UCLA over a field goal. I think this game is close throughout. Tell me why Utah is going to roll as you always do.
I'm not. I'm on UCLA. I just haven't bought.
Wow.
I just haven't bought the number yet.
What is going on? You traded in your UCLA allegiance for TCU?
I do have a UCLA helmet right behind me right here. Wait, over there. Right there.
Yeah.
I might have to put my sissy blue shirt on this weekend. And just call Utah. And frankly, to tell you the truth, I kind of want UCLA to blow Utah out so I can just hammer the living shit out of the Utes next week against USC. But we'll see. UCLA wins this game, everybody. You better believe Sunday about 2:30 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a big old Utah bet coming down the pipe in the Action app. So, just for the future. But as far as this game goes, I think it lands 3. I think the game lands 3, Utah by 3. So I am being greedy right now. I haven't put a play in on the app. I'm
betting it right now, and then I'm going to.
Are you? Yeah. I could buy a 4 right now and pay minus 118 on. I don't really want to do that, but at the same time, I don't think it's coming back to 4. I think it's. Yeah,
I just want to ensure I grab the over. I can get a 3.5 minus 107 right now, which I'm locking in.
Yeah. So I think after I get done talking about the segment and you start talking, I'm going to go bet it myself. But listen, the Chip Kelly DTR offensive attack starts on the ground. They're second in the nation in stuff rate, and they're 5th in line yards. Nothing's changed. I mean, this is a great ground unit. I mean, that's what Chip Kelly offense is being run to a T by DTR. And Utah has not controlled the trench against the run. They're 95th in line yards defensively, and UCLA is just going to have success on the ground and have sustained drives. Utah isn't getting a pass rush either. They're ranked outside the top 100. There's been plenty of drop 8 scenarios, so I can kind of understand why there hasn't been a pass rush, but the defense has stood up in the red zone, a top 25 rank in defensive finishing drives. UCLA is going to have opportunities to score. It's just a question of whether they're actually going to get more touchdowns than field goals. As for Utah, there is talk that Tavion Thomas is going to have an expanded role this weekend against UCLA. That makes sense against the UCLA defense. They're 89th in stuff rate. They struggle with tackling, keeping opponents out of the red zone. And the Bruins have been a top 15 team in coverage. So they're really good against the pass. So I expect a lot less Cam Rising throwing and a lot more Tavian Thomas doing his work from the backfield where he should get some clean looks. So,
By the way, Utah's also without their top pass catcher.
yeah. Yeah. So, again, we could make a case here for the under. I do see a trickle down, very big key number of 65, and the board is, lit up at 64.5. So, I think I'm going to be firing on the under and buying a 4 here as soon as I get done talking. But I think the game is a grinder. I want 4 with UCLA. I lean to the under with the expected game plan being on the ground for both teams. No, we're on the same side. I'm going to take a little break from Utah. And actually, I kind of hope they get pounded because I'm dying to burn money against USC next week.
Unreal. Can't believe that you're on the same side. I thought you were going to make a long-winded case for your beloved Utes.
There's never been hate for UCLA on this podcast. There's never been hate for me. I mean, this is a tough one for me, but you're right. Out of all my children, and I rank them all, Utah is higher than UCLA. So I give you that.
The TCU must be the favorite child right now in 2022.